Welcome to the Unleash Greatness podcast with your host, Jonathan Mitchell. The best in personal, emotional, spiritual, and business development.
Hey guys, it is I, Jonathan Mitchell, and yes, I am a professional singer, if you can't tell. I was very grateful for you guys to be on board with us. Today is Friday, and it is Spiel Day. We do 5 different things through the week. Monday is interviews. Tuesday is MBA Musings Day, where I talk about the MBA program. Wednesday is book reviews. Thursday is story time from my friends or from online articles. And then lastly, today is Spiel Day, where I get to talk about random things I get to talk about. Very grateful to have you. Again, this episode is sponsored by naturalmedicinemamas.com. For any help around natural or alternative medicine or products, please go there for any help with men, women, children, all sorts of amazing things for like sleep, anxiety, cold, flu, whatever. It's all there. It's amazing stuff. So check it out. This is Unleash Greatness. I'm Jonathan Mitchell. Find more at unleashg.com. Let's go. So it's hard to describe sometimes how my life goes because I've had a crazy couple of weeks. I've lost a couple of people very, very close to me, very, very close family members. One really good friend. I have had a new job offer during the day. I could use some sales training. I have had my family go through some pretty hard things as far as jobs are concerned and money. We were able to play up at Sundance with my band. There's been so many things up and down. Like there's been one day it's up, next day it's really hard down, next day it's a little bit up, next day it's hard down again. It's just like up and down and up and down, and it's just all over the place. And I wanted to take some time today to just talk about what I personally do in these situations to deal with what's going on and how to kind of come in line with your own self. And hopefully, I don't know if you're going through a hard time right now or not. I've talked to some people who are doing awesome, and I wish nothing but the best for them, and other people who are really sincerely struggling. So I say this almost to speak to my own sister, because she's been through a lot this last couple of years. In fact, I have 2 sisters who've gone through a lot. Well, I'm sure all of them have, but 2 in particular. So one of my sisters is going through a cancer battle, trying to go through and see what's going on, and by the time this is released, she would have had her scans back, and we'll know what's going on this time around. She's been dealing with it now for a year and a half, and I've talked a lot with her about what's going on and how to process it through it. And yeah, so it's just, I've listened to her, and then my other sister, her and her husband have had a lot of challenges with him and jobs, and he is an incredible, talented, brilliant guy. Had some jobs that went well. He ran his own business, and then he had a job with another company, and they hired him, went through a training process, and then for some reason let him go. And so it's been up and down, and they even moved. Like my sister and them moved to another location and trying to sell their house, and financially they're in a tight place. And there's just hard stuff that happens. You know, there's just things that happen that are challenging for people, and it's always interesting for me to listen to and see how people function through challenging times. Because as I've said many times, things that happen to us, life is just data, and we get to decide how we respond to it. Reason why I say that is because I watched a show, I think it's called Life is Beautiful. I think that's what it's called, or movie I should say, called Life is Beautiful, about this dad who was stuck in the prison camps with his son, and how he made it this game with his son and kept his son like totally unaware of all the crappy things that was going on. Made everything a game so his son was positive and happy. I mean, he struggled a bit, missed his family, but he made it so it was a game, and the perspective was it was just a game, and all these people playing within this game. So I know that you can take anything as data, and I'm pretty bold in saying that because of that specific experience. We have a lot more choice over what we experience as far as our own internal processes. I don't always have a choice of what happens to me, but I do have a choice of what I do with it and how I respond to it. So I'm going to give some words of advice that my sister asked me to give her, and I hope will help you all. And I've definitely been reviewing this myself, and this comes from life coaching, and it comes from mentors of my own. This is just not my own creation. This is just things that have helped me through the years during hard times. I spoke about this yesterday a little bit with story time, but I'm going to hit on it again. The number one thing I would say is allow yourself to feel what you're feeling. A lot of times, especially with myself, I'm a very, again, naturally, at least I try to be positive and optimistic. I feel like I'm naturally that way, but sometimes I have bad days, and sometimes I struggle, and sometimes I don't want to be grateful, and I don't want to be a life coach, and I don't care about anything else, and blah, 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 and life is horrible, and blah. Like those emotions and feelings come. When they do, I allow myself the permission, the space to feel whatever it is I'm feeling. Like losing the people close to me. I've had a lot of anger. I've gone through a lot of death in my life. Sometimes there's a lot of sadness. Sometimes there's a lot of grief. Sometimes there's regret for not saying things the way I wanted to. This last time I felt a lot of anger, mostly because I just didn't understand why things happened the way they did. In the past, let's just say 10, 15 years ago, I probably would have stuffed that emotion and judged myself for even feeling anger about this current loss. And instead of feeling like I should stuff it or that something's wrong with me for feeling angry, I've allowed myself the ability to feel angry. And when I go work out, I don't let that anger out on anybody else because I don't think that's healthy either. But when I go work out, my intention is obviously to take care of my body, but it's to get that anger out and to allow myself to feel it and to fuel my workouts from that anger. Workouts for me are usually an emotionally processing time. I'm using workouts as the primary reason of why I'm going is for an emotional processing. The secondary benefits are physical. So like this last little while, it's been a lot of anger resolve. And as I've allowed myself to feel that and to work through workouts doing that, I'm able to let it go. Now, there's lots of ways to release emotions. Another way I've done it in the past was to feel, I believe the inside of our bodies, the energy we feel, the emotion we feel is not us. It's something we feel. It's an energy that we're having inside of us or a feeling inside of us, but it's not us. It's not my soul. I'm not angry. I'm experiencing anger. I always picture it in first I ask the question, where are you feeling this feeling in your body? Is it in your legs, in your toes, in your stomach, your groin, your head, your neck, your back? Where is that? For me, anger is right in my middle of my chest. And using a little bit of Gestalt therapy training I've had in the past, I make that anger, I pretend like I take it out of me, this anger, and I just say, okay, if I took this anger out of me, it'd be this bright red, orange energy ball. And I would ask myself, if this was an entity, a person, thing, object, whatever, what would it be? And then I say to this anger, what do you want from me? Why are you here? Why am I feeling angry? Why are you here with me? And then I allow the anger to speak to me. So I sit down at a computer and I ask the question, why are you here? And I literally pretend like I'm having a conversation with anger. And then I allow the anger to speak back. So I write for anger. I'm a scribe. And the anger will sometimes say, you're angry because you don't understand this, 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 this. You're angry because you love your friends and your family so much you don't want to have them go. You're angry because you wish you could control things and you can't. There's just little things for myself and I go, oh my gosh, you're right. And it's internal processing that's just for you. I'm willing to share with you some of those. But whatever feeling you're feeling, grief, sadness, anger, allow yourself to speak to it. And I don't care how blunt you are or what kind of words you say to it, but have a conversation with it and then allow that feeling to have a voice and to tell you why it's there. That's one way of doing it. Again, another way is like myself going to work out. Whatever it is, find ways to allow yourself to feel what you're feeling. Next is a principle I'm going to say comes from a quote about the devil, which I said this to my sister this last week because she said, I just don't know how much more of this I can take because she's been through a lot. She just said, I don't know how much more of this I can take. And I just said to her, remember the quote that says, the devil whispered into the warrior's ear, you cannot handle the storm. And then the warrior, or you, say back, I am the storm. The question is, and remember to remind yourself, is how strong are you? You've been through all this stuff so far. You are stronger than what's going against you. You are, like I said to my sister, you are the gosh dang mother freaking storm, okay? Your soul, your ability, what you've gone through is stronger than what is coming at you. And even if you break, I do believe in God. I do believe there's a higher power, and I do believe that that higher power will lift you and sustain you in the times that you break and you can't lift yourself up anymore. So be willing to at least say, if I am the storm, and the storm is created, or at least any storm is created by the higher power and sustains any storms or calms the storm. That higher power can calm it, can sustain you, can bring you around, and I just would suggest that anyone out there who doubts me would just reach out. If you're atheistic as I used to be, give yourself a chance to at least reach out to a higher power and feel the power that comes from relying on something bigger than yourself. Last thing I would say, again, the first thing is allowing yourself to feel, giving whatever you're feeling a voice. Next would be, remember that you are the gosh dang storm and that you're stronger than anything that's going to come towards you. And even if you're not, the higher power who creates all things and storms and also calms the storm can sustain you or calm you, depending on what you want. Next and last, and I know this is a little cliche, but there's so much power behind it, is gratitude. Being grateful, and when I say gratitude, I mean not just gratitude for the things you're honestly grateful for, but being grateful for the things that you're not grateful for naturally. Being grateful for the things that are crappy. I know this kind of comes, people who listen to The Secret take it in the wrong way, and they think, well, if I'm grateful for crappy things, won't that make more crappy things? And I would argue and say the universe hears vibration. It hears what you're feeling. It hears gratitude. It doesn't hear, I'm grateful for this bankruptcy, and so give me more bankruptcy. That's not what it's saying. It's saying, I am grateful. And that's all it hears is the gratitude, the resonancy, the frequency, the power, vibration of gratitude. I would challenge you. I read another book once, so I might have to do a book review on this one. It's a very Christian book called Prison to Praise. It's about this guy who was taken in war as a POW and was tortured relentlessly by his captors. I think it was in Vietnam or Korea. I'm not sure which one it was, but it was one of those two. And how he found his own faith through gratitude, and how he was literally grateful for everything. And every day as he got tortured, he'd just say, I'm grateful for the torture. I'm grateful I have a body that I can feel. I'm grateful that I have these things. I'm grateful for these guys who are torturing me. I'm grateful, I'm grateful, I'm grateful, I'm grateful. And all he felt was gratitude. I know it sounds kind of crazy. I am going to tell you a story out of that book real fast to kind of show my point with this. After this guy was released from prison, he became a military chaplain. And his whole ministry became about gratitude and praising. He had a kid and his wife who's in military come to him once and say, I'm really struggling with my dad. My dad has been an alcoholic for as long as I can remember. And he said, I'm a devout and stout Christian. I've prayed and prayed and prayed and asked the Lord to heal my dad and make him not an alcoholic anymore. He's like, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. And this guy, his name is Merlin Carruthers, he says, have you ever prayed and said, thank you, Lord, for my dad being an alcoholic? And the kid's like, why would I ever say I'm grateful for my dad being an alcoholic? And he just said, you have to allow him to be where he is. God does not force anybody to be anywhere. He loves them where they're at. And so we need to do the same thing, to be grateful for your dad where he is. So he went through and they started to pray, and their whole prayer was, I'm grateful that my dad is an alcoholic, and I ask you to let the highest and best thing happen for him. Crazy concept, but within a couple of months, this guy who was an alcoholic forever, hated Christianity, came to his son and said, I think I'm going to stop drinking. A couple months after that, he came to his son and said, I think I want you to tell me about this Christianity thing. Then a couple months after that, he was baptized into that church, and then he became a stout and devout Christian himself and never touched alcohol again. So for 30 years, this kid had prayed for his dad to not be an alcoholic, and all it took was prayers of gratitude for how he was and accepting who he was, and then all of a sudden he started to change. I would say, as far as the secret and vibration, that kind of stuff, this comes down to truly accepting people for who they are and loving them where they are. I believe in a God that loves us where we are at and will accept us for where we are at, and that we need to allow ourselves to do the same thing. So I use this in my coaching all the time, where I say to someone, even if they don't believe in a God, I just say, even if you thought that there's no God, if there was one, let's just play a game. If there was a God, let's just say he is all-loving, all-powerful, all-knowing, all whatever, and he came down and started to talk to you right now, do you feel like that he would be judgmental towards you? And the answer is usually no. And they ask the question, do you think that this entity would feel anything but love and acceptance? Anything. Sometimes they come up with, well, maybe there's disappointment, which usually comes from another issue. But when it comes down to it, if you had God standing right in front of you, I can tell you from my own personal experiences with higher power, that if that happened, God would feel nothing but love, acceptance, no judgmental feelings of any kind, and understanding and sincerity and kindness and all these things, and power and confidence and a lot of things that I don't think we give God the ability to feel, because we think he's this revengeful, referee trying to punish us. I don't think that's who he is. If we take that same energy, like just say, if God was right in front of us, he would say statements like this. He would say, I love you. I forgive you. I'm with you. I believe in you. I praise you. I wish you good things. I'm here for you. I believe in you. Like all these positive statements. The key is to take those same feelings, those same thoughts, those same emotions, those same statements, and to say those things to anything happening in your life. Like let's just say bankruptcy. I haven't been through bankruptcy. I've had friends who've had to go through that. I know it's a challenge and a blow to the ego. It's saying to the energy of bankruptcy, you say to the bankruptcy, I love you, I forgive you, I praise you, I'm grateful for you. Same thing with any challenges at work. Or like with my sister with her cancer, I said the same thing. I want you to think about cancer as another person or another entity inside of your body. And you say to the cancer, I'm grateful for you, I love you, I praise you, I wish nothing but the best for you. I want to give you love and forgiveness. When we take on the divine energy and allow that to flow through us into the things, the people, the circumstances, the events that challenge us, we will change. And usually, so do the circumstances, people, events, and things, strangely enough. My challenge to you is these 4 things, however things I've talked about. Be willing to allow yourself permission to feel what you feel. Give what you feel a voice to speak to you. Next would be to remember that you are the storm and that you are more powerful than anything coming towards you. And even if you're not, and even if you break, I believe that there's a higher power that will sustain you or calm you, one of the two. And lastly is praise, using gratitude towards anything, anyone, any circumstance, any event to make yourself, to allow yourself the ability to have the divine energy and power flow through you to change yourself and to change everything around you. My promise to you is this: if you try it at least one day, you ever feel in a funk or feel in a bad place, you're grieving the loss of a loved one or anything, you do this one thing and I promise it will change you. To all you out there, I sincerely give you my love, my gratitude, my praise. I wish nothing but the best for anyone out there listening to me. This is Unleash Greatness. Jonathan Mitchell, thank you so much for listening.